Put it on record and we'll just get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming, Julie, to the Happy Hormones class. I'm super excited because this is a new class for me. I've never presented this one before, and it comes from the YL app, or sorry, the Life Steps app, which has some really good information in there. And what I really like about it is how much updating that they do. So this is a really interesting and fairly quick little class, but lots and lots of good information. So um, most people come to this class because, well, and it's all women typically, because we know how big of a role hormones play in our lives. They affect our physical and mental well-being. They affect our mood, our metabolism, our energy levels, our exercise tolerance. They affect our skin and our hair. They affect our sleep and a lot of other things. And on the flip side of that, everything from age to sleep to our environment actually impacts our hormones. So we are really at the kind of crossroads of how to get these things to work well for us. And because it is such a fine balance, it's really easy to be out of balance. And an imbalanced system can leave us feeling worn out, strung out, brain foggy, and everything in between. But we don't have to live there because we've got some really super tools in our toolbox from Young Living that we can use to actually help support our bodies better and figure out how to, and this class is actually to help us figure out how to tell what our bodies are saying to us and what specific hormonal needs we might need. And so we're hoping that through the information that you get tonight, you might be able to get some of your vitality and perhaps some of your sanity back. So welcome to the Happy Hormones class. Like I said, I'm super excited by this class. Any questions you have, Julie, just barge right in and let me know so that we get them on. I'm recording this and I'll post it on our YouTube channel for people to watch later who couldn't make it tonight. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so got a couple of questions. Do you experience chronic fatigue?
Yes.
Is your hair falling out?
Yes.
Do you think that your hormones are imbalanced?
Yes, I think they are imbalanced.
Yeah. Some people feel lightheaded. Some people lose their libido. Some
Yes.
people get moody and irritable. And often we crave sweet or
Oh,
and salty foods.
I live for sweets.
There we go. So any of those things are in your life, it is very possible that your hormones are running the show and making you worn out, anxious, annoyed, and generally needing some help. And our hormones and the balance between them are actually absolutely crucial to our health and for us to have a vibrant lifestyle. There are so many hormones in our body, but the ones that tend to cause havoc when they're out of balance are adrenal, thyroid, and sex hormones. And these three groups of hormones work together in a cycle. Thyroid hormone affects sex hormones. Adrenal hormones affect thyroid hormones. Sex hormones affect adrenal hormones. And when the cycle is out of balance, there is consequence to the entire endocrine system. The adrenal glands actually are located just above our kidneys. So if you feel on the small of your back, just at the small of your back, just up a little bit, would be where your adrenal glands are. And these glands are known as our fight or flight hormone glands. Um, they are the ones that excrete the fight or flight hormones for us. And the response is absolutely natural and necessary. And it actually protects us when there is high stress situations, like running from a lion or, fighting in a fight. But the constant stress of modern daily life often keeps our adrenals in overdrive, which they were never designed to be. They were never designed to always be on. So if you're tired and wired or feeling lightheaded and struggle with sleep, it could be your adrenals that are actually running the show here. Then there's your thyroid gland, which is right in here. And it performs a myriad of tasks in our body. It regulates our metabolism, our energy, our body temperature, and our hormone production, which impacts just about every other system in our body. So if your hair is falling out, or if you're cold all the time, or you're chronically tired, your thyroid hormone or lack of it is running the show. Then there's estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, the sex hormones. And those three play a huge role in our overall health as well. Everything from reproduction, muscle tone, mood, energy level, all of those things are controlled by the three sex hormones. Chronic stress, bad nutrition, low vitamin D levels, and an unhealthy gut balance with yeast overgrowth, those negatively affect estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And when estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone are out of balance, it can cause uncomfortable symptoms during a monthly cycle if you still have one. It can cause dietary sensitivities. It can cause hormonal acne. Yesterday, I found out it can cause rosacea in menopause. So if this complex web of hormones, in this complex web of hormones, it could be one of these that's running the show and making you feel like you want to pull your hair out, even if it's falling out already. But we're going to dive into this together, and we're going to get a bunch of great tips and products that are going to help you get your groove back, no matter which group of hormones is currently running the show in your life. But first, I want to talk a little bit about a holistic view of health. A lot of times our brains are really kind of black and white scenario thinkers. And if we have natural options, we can't use conventional ones. Or if we have conventional options, we can't use natural ones. But because our goal, even if our goal is to have as low toxin life as possible, we really have to still live in the real world. And sometimes it just takes a small shift in thinking about where we want to get to help us get where we want to be. For example, I am perfectly resigned to the fact that because of my two heart attacks, I have a lot of medications that I take. I have 5 different prescriptions that I take every day. I consider that a small price to pay to stay alive. However, each of those brings its own unique set of side effects. And my decision was that I would manage all of my side effects holistically and not, have another medication. And so I've learned ways of managing the side effects while still taking the medication. For me, that's a balance that I can live with. And everyone needs to come to some kind of agreement with themselves what they want to do. Because when we look at our lives, we do look at it with a holistic perspective. Our bodies work as a whole, our lives work as a whole, each part dependent on another part, and they all affect each other. So when you're thinking about your own health, it is not an all or nothing black and white situation. It is degrees of what is acceptable to you. So, what does a holistic view of health look like? It looks like some tools in your toolbox for daily support when the bumps in the road hit hard. It looks like listening to your body and seeing what it's trying to tell you. And it's about really paying attention. So here's a good example, fevers. Did you know that a fever is a natural response of the body when it comes into contact with something that it needs to fight off? It is a very natural response. A fever is your body's way of doing its thing to kill off whatever's making you feel bad. A lot of doctors will actually tell you just to let a fever run its course so that your body can mount its defenses against the infection or injury. But does that mean we just sit and suffer in discomfort? No. And it's not that we don't lower the high fever, we take a holistic view of the situation. So, did you realize that you can apply lemon and peppermint to the feet and the spine, and it can be really soothing in the presence of a fever? It makes you comfortable having a fever while the body does what it's supposed to do by having the fever going. Um, our bodies have an innate design that we can support and encourage with simple daily tools. Now, of course, there could be times when then you really have to deal with that fever because it gets so high. Again, this is about you understanding where your limits are and what things you can do to try to keep things from progressing and getting worse. Our bodies have a really innate design that we can actually support and encourage with some simple daily tools. And we know for a fact that our lives are actually interplays of our mental, physical, and emotional health. It's not just our body, it's not just our brain, it's how everything works together because each one affects the other one. And each one is an area where we can nurture routines that spill over into the areas of the others. So if we shift our focus to a holistic view of our lives and move towards something better, we can find something richer, including our hormone health. Okay, so that's kind of the framework that we're going to be looking at this from. But we're going to get a little sciencey here first. We're going to talk a bit about essential oils and oil-infused supplements and why. This is Young Living's advantage, this in particular. Essential oils are so fascinating. You could literally spend your life learning about them because they are a way to harness the real power of nature. Essential oils are the aromatic compounds naturally found in shrubs and flowers, roots, leaves, stems, and other parts of plants. And the power of an essential oil actually lies in the individual constituent components in that oil and the synergy between those components, the individual compounds of the plant's system. So some examples of constituents in essential oils include things like terpenes and monoterpenes and phenols. These are chemistry words, really, that just describe the physical structure of a constituent component in an oil. But what's important here is that essential oils have a predominantly ring-like structure that is lipid or fat soluble. Okay, so it has a ring-like structure that's fat soluble. But why do we care about that? Because this specific structure, this lipid soluble ring around essential oil molecules, allows essential oils to penetrate cell membranes and travel easily through the blood and the tissues. That is the key. So each cell in our body is also surrounded by a lipid membrane, which is good because we don't want anything just coming in and out of our cells. But it means that it can be difficult to reach problem areas. And a lot of money goes into creating solutions to get things into cells that they want inside them. And oils are the perfect design. Smaller, ring structure, and lipid soluble. So the lipids surrounding the cell can dissolve and incorporate the essential oil. So it just makes sense that adding essential oils to our supplements and herb tinctures or herb, not tinctures, supplements, not, we'll leave it at that. Our supplements and our herbs will help increase the absorption of them in our bodies. So the structure of the essential oil actually helps us absorb more of the supplement that we're taking. And not to mention the property of the oil itself. And for example, like studies over the last few decades have found that rosemary enhances alertness. It can combat candida, which is yeast infection. Orange and lemon demonstrate tumor suppressing effects, and thyme oil can actually wash bacteria off of produce. And there's lots of these kinds of studies on PubMed. You do some Googling and you'd be amazed at the number of research studies that are looking at essential oils and their use. And the world leader, got a guess who the world leader is when it comes to essential oils and oil infused supplements? Of course, it's Young Living. Of course, it is. Been around for 30 years, focusing on this incredible product of nature, which we call the essential oils. Um, and it's absolutely no secret that I love Young Living supplements. I take a lot of them to help my body recover and stay healthy. They are super clean. They contain and tested for things like heavy metals and like all the raw ingredients, heavy metals and other synthetics and contaminants. Um, the supplements contain only ingredients that are required or needed in that creation of that supplement. They are sourced from sustainable resources, either corporate owned farms, partner farms, or suppliers. And Young Living prides itself on the sustainability of its um, ingredients. Plus, they are all backed by Young Living seed to seal standards. And if you haven't uh, read anything about the seed to seal standards, go to seed2seal.com and have a read. It is truly the thing that convinced me that Young Living was the company I wanted to belong with. And you absolutely cannot find any better oils or oil infused supplements anywhere else on the market. Okay. Any questions? Awesome. All right. So we're going to talk first about nourishment. So our bodies need nourishment, so do our hormones. So in order for our hormones to send the appropriate signals to the appropriate cells to get the appropriate responses, they need to be well nourished. And when our adrenals or our thyroid or our glands, our endocrine glands, are lacking in vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and nutrients, the whole show is going to go off balance. You cannot ask your body to do amazing things when it is malnourished. This is why proactive supplementation is so important. This is why balancing and bringing up your baseline health with supplements is key. And we have some great foundational options that will help your entire endocrine system get the nourishment it needs, and not to mention your body overall. And these are things that I take daily. Um, First of all, Ningxia Red. Anybody who talks to me about how am I going to start helping my body, the very first thing I tell them is you need to start taking Ningxia Red. Because Ningxia Red is so jam-packed with antioxidants and nutrients that our body desperately need. And not only is Ningxia Red the highest known protection against free radicals, it is rich in ellagic acid, polyphenols, flavonols, vitamins, and minerals. And it has 18 amino acids, 21 trace minerals, and those are really hard to get, beta carotene, and vitamins B1, B2, B6, and vitamin E, all in one bottle. It is such an excellent whole food source of nutrients. Call it a whole body nutrient infusion. And it gives energy and strength to our bodies without harmful stimulants. There's no caffeine in this, but this will increase your energy level amazingly. It also has an amazingly low glycemic index of 11. So it does not spike your blood sugar level. So if you have type 2 diabetes, this is a great supplement to give to your body. This one supplement in your routine can do so much to bring your health up. And there's lots and lots of studies that are out there on this. And we have some good clinical research on the impact of long-term Ningxia Red usage. Then there's the green omegas, omega-3. This is a vegan omega-3 supplement. So it is not fish oil, but it serves, and it actually is much better. It serves up essential fatty acids from algal oil, which is algae. So highly sustainable because algae is easy to reproduce, and very, very good for us. It supports our hormones, our heart, our brain, our eyes, and our immune system. I take this every day because of heart and brain. It's just so good. And we've all heard that omega-3s are good for our heart, but they're also crucial for our mood and emotions and hormones because our hormones are actually made from good fats, also known as omega-3s. Our bodies actually need fat to produce hormones. So adding in a high quality source of fat to our diet makes sense for our hormone health. And we love the algal oil. The change has been fantastic because it's a plant-based source of omega-3 and it has many benefits over traditional fish base. It has less impact on the marine ecosystem. It reduced there's reduced potential for harmful marine contaminants. And it's a product without any fishy smell or aftertaste. No burping up fish taste, which can be quite gross with fish-based omegas. Then there's Super B. Super B actually is one of the must-haves. It is our mood vitamin. It is great for maintaining healthy energy levels. It supports our mood. It nourishes our endocrine system, and it helps maintain cardiovascular and cognitive functions. I mean, it's just too good to be true, isn't it? B vitamins are actually essential to our health and well-being, and each B vitamin performs a unique and separate function. So that's why taking a B complex vitamin is essential because they work in synergy together and they have to be in the right amounts compared to each other. And B vitamins have to be replenished every day. They are water soluble and not stored in the body, so you need to replenish this every day. If you are on a keto diet and you do not eat any bread, you really need to supplement with B vitamins because a lot of traditional B vitamin intake comes from bread products because of the yeast. B vitamins can help with our moods and our emotions, with our hormonal balance. It helps with thyroid function, adrenal health, and energy levels. It's hugely important and cannot be overstated how much B vitamin a well-balanced B supplement is to your body. And then finally, there's mineral essence. We don't get enough minerals in our diet. And depending on where you live, you might not get it from your water either, because if you have very, very soft water, you're not getting minerals either. But our current food system and farming practices actually doesn't provide a lot of minerals in our vegetables and our food either. So mineral essence, which is a liquid, is a balanced full spectrum ionic mineral complex. It contains 60 ionic minerals, including iron, zinc, boron, sodium, magnesium, selenium, thallium, calcium, and potassium. And it is also infused with essential oils. It's infused with peppermint, cinnamon bark, and lemon. And these oils support healthy digestion and contain antioxidants and immune support properties that help the body to absorb the minerals in the mineral essence mixture. So they also make those minerals more available and more useful to our body. So it's an amazing synergy of ingredients in mineral essence. Iron, magnesium, zinc, and selenium deficiencies alone have been linked to many health issues, including some that affect our emotional health. And all of these deficiencies can be improved with mineral essence. So many times, deficiencies like this, such as iron, aren't actually about needing more iron, but they're more about having iron that your body can assimilate and use and eliminate. So sources actually really do matter. And these four supplements form an incredible foundation for what you need to do. So if you did nothing else, these four supplements would give you an incredible foundation for your hormonal, physical, and mental well-being, both for men and for women. And if this was your daily routine, you could nourish your endocrine system and your whole body and make a huge shift forward. So it's pretty amazing that you could cut it, you could pare it down to four. But we have other things that happen with our body. And everything we've talked about so far in the first four can be applied to everyone. And this class can be for men or women, but we're going to talk a little bit about women problems right now. So hot flashes, cramps, PMS. If you are in that stage of life, and we all remember it well, some of these are some of the most hormone related conditions that women face. And you could likely mention a million other symptoms that you face on your own. Many women struggle to some degree feeling the effects of a hormonal balance from their first cycle through childbearing years to menopause and postmenopausal beyond. And each of these stages in a woman's life has its own set of dragons to be tamed. And each of these dragons is actually related to an imbalance of one or more hormones. So why do we feel this way? Because there are a lot of causes: hormones, diet, lack of sleep, overall inflammation, psychological and physical stress, like being human today. And a lot of it is within our control. Some of it will improve when we balance our hormones, and a little bit of it is outside of our control. So we have to do the best we can with what we have, and we have to build up our body's strength so that we can deal with it. So we're really lucky that as well, we have a great toolbox that we can look at to manage us through any parts of this roller coaster. Like I said before, our hormones actually need support and nourishment throughout our lifetime. And here are some ways that we're going to be able to do that no matter what our current stage of life is. So we talked about our endocrine system, right? Um, it produces our hormones. Our hormones tell our bodies what to do and when to do it. And when your hormones are not firing well, nothing is right. And this is not just about you feeling crazy. It's literally your entire body in a completely chaotic state of miscommunication because hormones are communication systems. The endocrine system's primary responsibility is to maintain a stable and balanced internal environment. And the body does this by regulating functions such as metabolism, growth, sleep wake cycles, breathing, sexual development through a series of glands that release hormones into our bloodstream. And these hormones travel to the organs and tissues of the body where they signal cells to act in certain ways for cell growth and function. Okay. So there are 8 major glands that help the endocrine system. There's the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, the thyroid, the parathyroid, the adrenal glands, the pineal body, and the reproductive glands, which are testes and ovaries. And each of these glands plays a different role in the body and in various systems and functions. They determine how energy is stored, how the body controls fluid, salt, and sugar levels in the blood, and even emotional responses. And it only takes a very small level of hormones or lack thereof to trigger significant reactions in our body. We are finely tuned machines, and when anything is out, even just a little bit, we don't run well. So for the sake of time, let's talk about the main gland in all of this, which is the hypothalamus. Okay, so our hypothalamus is directly connected to our olfactory system or our sense of smell. Interesting, hey? Enter the benefit of aromatherapy. So studies show that scents carried in an oil base register immediately in the hypothalamus and bypass the brain's need to quote unquote figure it out. Right? So did someone say essential oils? Like, let's be honest. If you followed all of that, you get a gold star. If you skip to the sentence, that's okay. If you just kind of tuned out and you weren't listening, it's fine. Here's the short version. Our endocrine system is actually crucially important. Support it well, and you might find yourself feeling like a whole new person, and add one single way to do that, and that is oils. Um, you know how in January, many people begin working out with huge goals to be fit and consistent, and then they run out of steam in a matter of weeks? Those who typically find more success in that have some accountability through a partner or a personal trainer. They tend to be more successful. They need help finding what works best for their body so that they can be strong and unique, um, and they can develop programs that are good for their own body. Many people also have goals to be healthier and have more energy. They're going to sleep well. They're going to sleep more. They're going to eat well. They're going to lose weight. They're going to get moving. But their bodies have forgotten how to do these things properly. They have individual experiences and lots of baggage, let's be honest, that mean that their endocrine system needs to kind of have a spotter to be sure that they get stronger instead of burning out or hurting themselves, kind of like your personal trainer. So that is what Endoflex is. Endoflex is like a personal trainer for your endocrine system. I love this stuff. I have a roller ball on the top. See, I put a roller ball on top so that it sits on my desk, and every morning or a couple of times a day I roll it on my thyroid area. Um, Healthy thyroid function, hormone balance, healthy metabolism, and adrenal health. This little bottle of essential oil blend will help all of these pieces come together the way that a personal trainer helps you work towards better fitness at the gym. It's very cool. This blend is often very beneficial for teens and kids who are developing hormonally, um, because today's habits really put an early strain on those areas of their health. So Endoflex is a blend of spearmint, which is for your metabolism, support for your nervous system, and helps bring balance overall. And it's the top note that you really smell, or I really smell mostly. It also has sage oil in it, which is commonly used for purification and release of negativity that wears us down. It has geranium oil, which is like daily TLC for overall hormonal balance, um, uh, the liver and the pancreas. It has myrtle in it, and myrtle is so good for the thyroid. You pair them together, your thyroid and myrtle, and they love each other. It has German chamomile, which is calming to your system and especially supportive of healthy liver function, which is very good for people with heart issues. And nutmeg. And this nutmeg is your adrenal cheerleader. It's like if your car can't shift into the next gear, you give it extra gas. Well, your adrenals need and love nutmeg. They will fire into life with nutmeg. So this is an oil that you really want in your kit and have it every day with you. And then when you pair this oil with Endogize, which is a supplement, you hit it out of the park. Because Endogize is a daily women's hormone support supplement powered by essential oils, minerals, and herbs, including ashwagandha root, which is a well-known herb for hormone balance and stress reduction. And Endogize also contains DHEA, which is a hormone precursor for estrogen and testosterone. And DHEA is actually naturally made in the body, but levels decline as we age, like so many things. And these ingredients in Endogize actually work synergistically to create a formula that supports a healthy endocrine system for women. So it is a knockout 1-2 punch. Um, so a couple of things that you can do. You can use Endoflex every day. You can take Endoflex Vitality in a capsule with olive oil. Um, you can add it to Epsom salts and soak in it. You can pair it with Endogize and Progressence Plus to really balance hormones. Progressence Plus we'll get to in a minute. And guys can pair Endoflex with Shutran, which is a men's blend. All right, let's go on. Uh, so, and mostly for women, when we're discussing hormones, we start talking about estrogen and progesterone. I just want to make sure I haven't skipped. Oh no, I'm okay. Um, Almost all women before menopause are high in estrogen and deficient in progesterone, with a few exceptions. But our diets, our environmental factors, our skin products, and much more quickly lead to excess estrogen in the body. There's a lot of hormone disrupting chemicals in things like personal care products, household cleaners, um, uh, clothing. It's amazing where it funds. But the point we need to make is it's balancing these hormones that is important for all women, no matter what age. Even if you've had a hysterectomy, balancing hormones is very important. And progesterone is produced in the ovaries and the adrenal glands and the placenta when you're pregnant. And progesterone is stored in fat. It is not just needed for our reproductive system, but also for our nervous system. So that's why when we feel out of sync or out of control, um, it isn't just about having babies or a monthly cycle. It's way more about how our bodies function and how they're communicating at the cellular level. And big point is, just a second, progesterone is not just needed by women during childbearing years. It is a part of female health until death. It is a key part of our female nature. Okay, but what about estrogen? Where does that come into the picture? Well, estrogen has to first attach to a cell, and then it grabs hands with progesterone. If the progesterone is not there, the estrogen begins to inhibit the chemical process that's supposed to happen, and it can begin a process of mutation. We still need estrogen, is very much the other half of the puzzle, but we get so much estrogen from food and plastics and chemicals in our home and self-care products, medications, and many of these are xenoestrogens, which are artificial estrogens. But our body doesn't care. It processes them the same way. So you're still getting all kinds of estrogen. And in today's society, women's bodies at all ages are full of estrogen going into our cell receptors, then reaching out for progesterone only to find none there. Nothing. It's a chemical imbalance, leads to chaos. Bottom line, both estrogen and progesterone are important. Both are needed, but they are needed in a balance of each other. Okay, so let's talk about what our cycle is telling us. Even uh, even if you're not, this is interesting information, even if you are no longer having a cycle, like me. Um, it's very overlooked in most areas of education for women, and most women don't even know what phases their body is going through at any given time. And if you know how the cycle works, um, you know more about how to help your body. So here's a brief overview of what it looks like. Phase one is a menstrual phase. Uh, and on day one of your cycle, progesterone plunges and the lining of the uterus sheds. Estrogen levels are at their lowest. And throughout this week of bleeding, estrogen starts a steady climb. During this week, your energy is at the lowest, and you may feel tired and withdrawn, and you may want to rest more than you usually do, or even take a day off if possible. Then there's phase two, the follicular phase, which is week two. This week just follows after menstruation. It's called the follicular phase because your pituitary gland releases a hormone called follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, which stimulates the follicles in your ovary to mature, and then estrogen and testosterone rise till they peak. And fun fact, women build more muscle and build it faster when they do resistance exercises during the first half of their cycle. Then we've got week three and week four, we've got rising estrogen. Phase three is ovulation. And phase four then is the luteal phase, which is the final 6 days of the cycle. So it's really quite a complicated process of hormone communication causing bodily function. The first 2 to 3 days of this phase will feel a lot like ovulation. That changes when estrogen and testosterone decline and your body starts producing progesterone. The second half of this phase, however, is very difficult for a lot of women. And you might feel PMS symptoms, cravings for carbohydrate heavy comfort foods, bloating, breast tenderness, headaches, all kinds of symptoms. And these are not in your head, but they're something you should suffer through. They're not something you should suffer through either. Clearly, the levels of hormones in our bodies are meant to fluctuate throughout our month. But for almost all women, we are starting at a hormone deficit, at least with progesterone, making all of the symptoms of each phase more acute. Okay, so let's talk about how do we support women in this phase of their life. First up is progesterone. If you determine that you are one of the many women who need extra progesterone, how do you get it? Well, you can do conventional hormone replacement therapy. However, many of these hormones are made with horse urine, medoxyprogesterone acetate, and other synthetic progestins. These are very different from what's found in plants in our body, and their long-term use can have some dramatic risk factors. Do some Googling. If this is the road that you're going to take, do some research. Natural hormones are easily recognized by the body. This is why we love phytoprogesterones, like the one in Progestins Plus. Progestins Plus, I don't have my bottle here, it's beside my bed, is truly a best friend for women. It's a pure progesterone serum made from wild yam. It's infused with sacred frankincense oil, and it easily absorbs into the skin and contains nourishing oils like copaiba, cedarwood, bergamot, peppermint, and clove, which all give it a very stabilizing mechanism for our mood. It also helps me to sleep wonderfully. And there's clinical studies also showing that essential oils can enhance the ability of natural hormones to penetrate the skin, allowing us to get even more benefit from them. So the way we quickly get our new progesterone on its way to the estrogen that's been left hanging around is using Progestins Plus. And I simply put 4 drops on my inner arm, rub my arms together, and that's it. You don't have to move the site around. You don't have to be very precise in your measurements, nothing. 4 drops, and you're good to go daily. And its partner, companion product, is Femigen. It's a twice daily supplement combining whole food herbs, including wild yam, damiana, and donkey, with synergistic amino acids, clary sage, fennel, ylang ylang, and sage essential oils. And it specifically supports the female reproductive system through estrogen balance and helps maintain and nourish the reproductive system. So these two together are great for women who are in their menstrual cycle years. The Progestins Plus is great for women in their entire lifespan. So let's talk about thyroid trouble. Because if you are a woman, it's highly likely that your thyroid needs a little extra tender loving care. It's so common for women to require thyroid support. I have been on thyroid medication since my 30s, so nearly 30 years now. This little gland right in here can cause so much havoc when it's out of balance. It's a little butterfly-shaped organ at the base of your neck. It releases thyroid hormones T3 and T4, and often women will get these measured on lab work. And those hormones control our metabolism and many other functions, including breathing, heart rate, central and peripheral nervous systems, body weight, energy level, muscle strength, menstrual cycles, body temperature, cholesterol levels, You see how this all works together? That little butterfly, the base of your neck, is so powerful. And basically, without the thyroid gland, we are up a creek without a paddle. And we're yelling at everyone and everything. And again, feeling like we're completely off our rocker or not able to get off the couch because we're so tired. And unfortunately, many people who have their thyroid levels tested are told that they're normal levels. But they don't experience the vitality that can come from having a truly well-functioning thyroid organ. So once we shift again to a holistic health view, these normal ranges are based on a wide variety of individuals. They don't account for your specific DNA, the balance of your other hormones. And because the thyroid does so much for us, it does need lots of nourishment. This is why Thyromin is here for us. So Thyromin contains porcine glandular extracts, so pork thyroid, herbs, amino acids, minerals, essential oils, all combine to work together in a perfectly balanced formula to maximize nutritional support for healthy thyroid function. It's a little like a pampering session for your thyroid. Um, Easy to take every day. It's a daily supplement. Um, and it loves working alongside of Endoflex as well, the one that we talked about that I put on my thyroid. I wish I'd known about it 30 years ago. Okay, so we talked about adrenal glands earlier, right? Adrenal glands are our stress hormone glands. They are small organs that sit on top of our kidneys, the small of our back. They maintain and boost our energy, kind of like a car shifting into first and second and third gear as we go about our day. They also help our body survive during times of stress. And since many of us live in constant, unrelenting stress, these our adrenal glands wear down pretty quickly. And they're not meant to always be firing. They're meant to fire and then rest and fire and then rest. But modern society is super stressful. But we also do things like excessive caffeine. We don't get enough sleep. We have a lot of emotional stress. We have demanding schedules. We have hormone imbalances. We have diet problems. We abuse alcohol. We're also always pushing ourselves to the maximum, we're never resting. All of these things can cause damage to our adrenal glands and cause them to fatigue. So if you have difficulty waking up from sleep in the morning, hitting snooze often, maybe that's adrenal fatigue. Do you need caffeine in the morning to get going? Have you recently gained weight around the middle? Do you feel like you get every bug going around? Well, that's your immune system and it's shot. If you have difficulty dealing with stress and deadline pressure, do you feel lightheaded when you stand up quickly? Do you struggle with poor memory or brain fog? And do you feel especially tired in the mornings and afternoons between 3 and 5? So these are all things that can be signs of adrenal problems. Um, Also, if you struggle with heavy PMS, heavy bleeding, moodiness, fatigue during a menstrual cycle, also can be a sign of adrenal fatigue. Um, and adrenals, when they're telling us this story, they're telling us that they desperately need minerals, they desperately need B vitamins and nutrients, and not to mention rest. So that is why Power Jize was created. It contains some wonderful herbs and essential oils to give your adrenals and your entire endocrine system a boost. So it combines herbs with blue spruce oil, goldenrod oil, and cassia essential oil to help all of them work synergistically together. And one of the key ingredients is ashwagandha root extract. And it is an ancient herb and it's an adaptogen and it helps your body manage stress and giving the adrenals what they need. Um, Power also includes B6, magnesium, and zinc, as well as fenugreek to help nourish your adrenals and overall endocrine system. It's really good for men too. Helps with exercise performance and healthy testosterone levels, but it's overall that's because it's overall balancing your endocrine system. Add some Ningxia Red to this, and you have a lovely combination. All right, so let's talk about really the thing that most of us struggle with the most, which is stress. And we don't realize how much stress is stored in and fought by the body. It is probably the number one health danger in modern life, and both of my heart attacks were caused by it. It is truly such a danger to so many pieces of your health, that we have to make sure that our bodies are physically and emotionally capable of dealing with stress, and that um, strengthening can be one of the biggest positive health changes that we can make. But why is stress so um, dangerous? Well, because your adrenals go into overdrive, your cortisol levels go up. High levels of cortisol cause the body to scavenge for protein and convert it to glucose to provide energy for the brain to deal with the perceived stress. This severely depresses our immune system. So adrenaline kicks in, your adrenals can spike, creating a feeling of energy, and then a crash with extreme fatigue after when they run out of material to work with. And this can kind of look like you're feeling fine in the morning, but getting tired or overwhelmed when contemplating work. It can be very subtle. The cycle is fine in the short term, like I said, if you're running from a bear, but in fact, the long-term production of cortisol can cause feelings of fatigue, difficulty maintaining healthy weight, difficulty maintaining optimal health of our cardiovascular system. Bingo for me. When cortisol levels are chronically high, it affects the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, how those three work together, basically affecting all the hormones in your body and disrupting the natural feedback loop. So then this causes the body to be less sensitive to the stop signal and creates a vicious cycle of elevated stress. So your body becomes a whirlwind of stress creation on its own. This is not what we want. So cortisol is a supplement when you are in a situation where the stress is unrelenting. It is an essential oil and herb supplement designed to address the way women's bodies react to cortisol produced under stress. It helps to naturally balance the stress response by calming down the body and lowering cortisol levels. And as cortisol declines, strength and energy return, and the body moves back to a state of equilibrium. Um, it contains progesterone, DHEA, precursors that all hormones are made from, which help decrease the production of cortisol. It also contains essential oils and good plant-based estrogens to help the body return to balance. Okay, then there's another option, which is PD 80/20, and this is an 80/20 supplement with 80% progesterone and 20% DHEA. So you have some options there, and you can do some research if you think that this is the area where you really need some support. So then finally, the last thing that we need to talk about is our emotional roots to our health issues, because our emotions can be so big and so heavy at times, and they can absolutely affect our physical health. Have you ever had a highly emotional situation like a death in the family or something major that's happened and you also get sick? Because our emotions can drain our bodies to the point where our immune system can no longer fight off um, bacteria or viruses. Because emotions are simply reactions that we experience in response to events or situations. And whether it's joy that you experience or deep sadness, those impact your body. There's a physical reason for this. Our brains have specific areas where we process emotion. And the system of the brain that is responsible for the processing of our emotions, for holding our memory and our mood, is the limbic system. The limbic system includes the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the amygdala, three structures in our brain. And when we look at the structure of our brain, we see that the amygdala is key to when it comes to motion and fear. The hippocampus is where new nerve cells are created, and it's physically beside the structure responsible for emotions. And it's connected to the nose via the cranial nerve. Cranial nerve. Might sound a bit sciencey, but let's read that again. The part of the brain where new nerve cells are created is connected to the part that processes emotions and is also connected to our sense of smell. If nothing else tonight, you need to understand the importance and the gift of our olfactory system, because aromatherapy can send messages to our brain directly through cranial nerves, our olfactory system. This means that inhaling essential oils triggers this area of our brain, helping us to rest, reset, and recharge. And diffusing essential oils is a great way to get the benefit of these oils. And there are so many oil blends that you can use to um, impact your limbic system. Nutmeg and energy are two that we've already talked about. Nutmeg being so good for our adrenal system. Energy is an amazing blend that can release emotional isolation and help us feel more connected. But whatever essential oils you decide to try, understand that the power of these oils is that they can impact your brain directly. And when we use these oils in conjunction with supplements, it's a powerhouse. It's not a quick fix, it is a long-term daily support system. So that um, is the majority. So there's some hormone levels that we could talk about as we age. There are multiple options for support here. I don't think I'm going to go into them tonight because we're already over time. But if you are interested in them, please let me know. And again, anyone who is looking at supporting their body long term, you need to know that getting balance isn't quick. We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of here overnight. It takes at least 90 days of consistency and effort to get true change to happen. And if you're going to be purchasing products for those 90 days, you might as well put them on loyalty rewards and get valuable points, spendable points back based on your order value that you can use to purchase other things. So loyalty rewards is an easy monthly subscription where you can change what's in this month as much as you want. You can change the date it's processed. You can change um, payment options. It's extremely flexible and you can cancel it whenever you want. But it is a way to gain, like I said, spendable points that you could spend on other things to try. If you wanted to try extra oils, you could use your spendable points on that. So if you are considering purchasing any of the products that we talked about tonight, I highly, strongly recommend loyalty rewards. I've been on the program for 50 consecutive months. I now get 20 after 2 years, you get 25%. After 24 months, you get 25% of the value of your order on loyalty rewards back in spendable points. And I use all of my spendable points typically to purchase Ningxia Red because I drink a lot of it. And I haven't paid for Ningxia Red for over a year. I just pay for shipping. So it is a very generous program and I highly recommend it. But that is I want to encourage you to get started today. Our hormones are needing us. And if we want to feel better, if we want to accomplish all the things that we want to do in our day and in our life, we need to have a body that functions at optimal capacity. And getting our hormones balanced and our adrenal system and our endocrine system going properly is the key to doing all of that. So thank you for joining me tonight. Julie, do you have any questions?
You answered most of them because
when I ever have my thyroid tested, it always comes back normal, even though I have almost every other symptom. And it's just shocking.
It's a scale. It's a scale from, low, medium to high. And the scale, uh, it's the intervention of pharmaceuticals that relies on it being outside of the scale. Optimal support depends on how you're feeling.
Okay. And then I was going to ask you now, can men have these hormone imbalances too?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, they can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, men can have thyroid issues. So men will have adrenal problems because of the massive amount of stress in the world. Their cortisol will be all over the place. Their main they still have all of the same hormones. Their sex hormones are in different ratios. Whereas the estrogen is highest, in men the testosterone is highest. But it is my understanding that men still have teeny, teeny, teeny tiny amounts of estrogen and teeny, teeny, teeny amounts of progesterone. But they all still have cortisol. They all still have thyroid hormones. All of those hormones still exist in men in the same way they exist in women.
Okay.
Women are just more likely to have thyroid issues for some reason.
I had a thyroid issue just after I had my first daughter. Like my thyroid went like right down to zero.
Yep.
Um, but of course, according to the labs, I haven't had it since.
Mm.
But like I said earlier, when
Yep.
you said and people's levels can be normal, I'm like, yep, that's me.
Yeah, it's very common for women that they have all the symptoms of low thyroid, but on the scale, they're normal.
Right? And that's the most frustrating part
Yep,
because
yep.
something is wrong, but yet the doctor's like, no, it's just in your mind.
Well, but here's the difference. When you're looking at it holistically, you're looking at the impact on your body as a system. When you're looking at it in Western medicine, you're looking at it as an individual um, uh, point on a scale.
Okay.
So when I went on thyroid medication, I had gained weight.
Oh,
Going on
wow.
thyroid medication didn't fix that. Like I had gained weight before. I couldn't drive home from work and not need a 2 hour nap. That went away. Then the desperate need for sleep went away. But a lot of the other side effects of low thyroid did not go away on pharmaceutical medication.
Wow.
And it set me up, which I didn't realize, it set me up for more cardiovascular risk.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
So looking after your thyroid, if you are having symptoms, is
Yeah,
probably the best thing to do from a holistic point of view.
great.
Look at supporting the whole system.
So then because I think I must be start menopause. I'm still having my period, but I'm think I'm every 6 months
Oh
now.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm about, well, I think I'm overdue, but
yeah. You're perimenopausal.
yeah. And I'm going to say I'm going to have to start taking something. When I told my physician that I was doing this, or you know thinking that I was in this stage, he's like, oh yeah, okay. I said, do I have to take anything? Nope, you're fine.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Because I hear so many people having to take all these different hormones, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
So you have to decide for yourself how you're going to do this. I could never do any of the hormone replacement therapy because my mom died of estrogen receptive breast cancer. So I refused hormone replacement therapy. So I had to manage menopause differently.
Right.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you can do it many ways. You just have to decide what it is that you want. And a lot of times it's based on the severity of the symptoms.
Okay.
Hmm.
Like if I'm having hot flashes or
Yep. Hot flashes.
or
So if you want to manage a hot flash in the moment, you have
yeah.
peppermint oil with you and you roll it up the back of your neck.
Oh, okay.
It is the you go from having a hot flash to being cold. It's
Wow.
amazing.
I love peppermint. I put it everywhere.
Peppermint oil is one of the key things that it's going to help you. But that's managing a symptom. Okay.
Okay.
The progestins, that's more of a systemic thing. That's going in and trying to help balance out what's in your body.
Yeah, and I imagine I have lots of stuff in my body.
Yeah. Well, we're all exposed to a lot of things that have estrogen in them. Plastics, um,
Oh,
cleaners. They have a lot of things that are petroleum products tend to be petroleum based products tend to have high estrogen. If you eat soy, that's high in estrogen. So what you want to do is balance out the progesterone part of it because you can't
okay.
you can't avoid all of the exposure to estrogen.
No, that's true.
So balance it out with the progesterone side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Well, on that, I will say good night to everyone. This will be posted on our YouTube channel, and links will be put into the Facebook group. And thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed it. I quite like this new class. It's really important, and it's got a ton of information that I didn't even know. So it's
Right?
amazing.
Very informative.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.